The return of my Coin Lady channel brings me much joy. New millionaires are going to be made at HBAR. The HBAR is poised to burst, and I'll explain why in this video. What has been happening in the market recently? Let's touch on it briefly. Yes, I am planning ahead by documenting this, so the answer is yes, volatility will persist. We are currently in the midst of a bull run, so naturally there will be price swings. However, I'd rather focus on the medium to long-term prospects of this run. Now that we're in what amounts to alt season, things are heating up significantly. Looking at Bitcoin's current price of over $91,000, almost $300, the most important thing to remember is that altcoins, like HBAR, are experiencing a lot of huge changes. Guys, Bitcoin dominance is the most important thing. Please don't misunderstand me, this is not the alt season. You are looking at the look of alt season. As far as Bitcoin is concerned, this is the ideal situation. At this very moment, we would like to see this item sold out entirely. Even if it may sound absurd to some of you, we are still in the Bitcoin season, with HR up 71% over the past week, and nearly 27% over the past 24 hours. It's clear that this is just the beginning of the gains that many of these older coins have had over the past 24 and 7 days. This is only the first step. However, let's have a cursory glance at a tour, because the volume has increased by 56% to about $1 billion in the past day, currently sitting at approximately 8 cents. Very satisfactory. The market sentiment is overwhelmingly positive. I believe this will help many of you see how early we are in this HBAR run. Therefore I will go over several charts related to H in more detail. Now, let's examine HBAR dominance briefly. The price activity on HBAR was obviously looking fairly terrible, and this item was selling off like crazy. As an example, this is the final one of the year because the topic was really low, particularly after all sentiment had died down. Antiquated coins were unimportant. The subject of ancient coins was not wanted. Alright, that's all they said. Oh, I'm finished. I can't stop describing how it feels like it's the autumn of 2020, just before the big relocation. Just as this chart shows, the current situation is precisely the same. The sentiment was so severe that many individuals were willing to give up, and now all coins are going parabolic. Here we are having a pleasant little speaker, and dominance was so low. However, what's truly bizarre about this? We have only achieved a dominance level of HBAR of 0%. This is really insane, especially when compared to April of this year, when we were at about 0.26%, which was also the all-time high. I don't think it will be the peak, when this thing finally starts to happen in September of 2021. Actually, I think HBAR will become the dominant cryptocurrency in the near future. This is particularly true in a market where the current valuation is over $3 trillion. However, if we were to talk about a 5 to 7 million, 0.00000% share of that, HBAR would have a very large market cap, which would lead to much higher price targets. How much further do you believe HBAR can go in this bull run? Lots of people have been asking me that, Nick. A price projection of $1 to $2 for HBAR would not surprise me in the slightest if we were to discuss a total supply of 50 billion, or even if we were to base it on the circulating supply. Are you saying it could go any higher? In a word, yes. Speculation and enthusiasm continue to drive the market, so anything is conceivable. Given that Dogecoin's market valuation is about $55 billion, and it was nearly $100 billion in 2021, everything is feasible at this point, excluding HBAR dominance. This thing was sold off heavily when we looked at HBAR Bitcoin again. Everyone was becoming really pessimistic about HBAR since, well, HBAR Bitcoin was falling. So I thought it would be a good idea to flip it quickly to show you guys what happened. Nothing was accepted. From the very top, technically the bottom trend line, we witness a delightful impulsive move to the very top. Now what I'm keeping an eye on is if we can reclaim this upper trend line, test it again, and then keep going higher. This will demonstrate our strength in comparison to Bitcoin. This is likely to occur when Bitcoin's dominance begins to wane and be surpassed by other coins. HBAR stands to gain significantly from this trend, as it indicates that HBAR is actively pumping on both the Bitcoin and USD charts. And I believe that HBAR is currently preparing for a major move due to all of the announcements that we shall discuss. Okay, then, let's get down to brass tacks. Let's go over some of the things that will cause HBAR to have a record-breaking run, reach new heights, and maybe even breach $1 to $2 this cycle. We will begin with these ETFs. A lot of people have been talking about ETFs recently. Exchange-traded funds, ETFs, have been a major topic of discussion, particularly this year due to the proliferation of ETFs for several cryptocurrencies, like as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. Now, HBAR is also being discussed, of course. With that out of the way, let's establish a HBAR ETF today using Canary Capital Files, S1, and the SEC. From my point of view, this is completely logical. Considering the volume and value that ETFs bring to the space, I'm very bullish on the idea that there will be an ETF for most of these projects. This is particularly true for legitimate ones, with a lot of use case potential and real-world value attached to them. Also liquidity. Tokens and token holders would gain substantially from ventures with liquidity, such as HBAR. Therefore, it's okay. In my opinion, this is highly bullish, and it has undoubtedly sparked a somewhat larger movement on the chart. Specifically, if we recall back to around the 12th, when the price movement began, we can observe that there was a nice, big spike, due, of course, to the ETF filing on the 12th. On the other hand, if we come over here, we have items from the HBAR Foundation. This piece originally appeared in the Wall Street Journal. In the event that crypto's ETFs are deregulated, we anticipate a boost. And it turns out that on Monday, Canary Capital Group was the one bringing up the HBAR ETF when they filed with the SEC. It would appear that HBAR is receiving a great deal of attention. Since the new government has spurred many pro-crypto talks, the industry as a whole has been under the microscope. I really believe that the mainstream will begin to incorporate cryptocurrency into its operations in a significant way in the near future. Additionally, I believe this asset class is destined to have a tremendous explosion. Specifically, I believe this current bull run will be enormous. From a long-term perspective, though, I fail to see how cryptocurrency could fail to reach a market cap of $50 to $100 trillion or more. When that happens, I don't see us idly speculating about how HBAR holders would become filthy rich. In my opinion, these holders will amass substantial wealth. No, I believe it will simply come down to who got in first, guy. Those people must be damn rich, am I right? Thus, I am of the opinion that at this very moment, the current climate seems to be laying the groundwork for certain initiatives, such as Hedera, to become unstoppable behemoths, with increased mention of exchange-traded funds and index funds thrown in for good measure. My video would not have been seen without you. When you're done, hit that subscribe button and let me know what you think.